Hi everyone, I'm Aaron Rump. So what we've watched in our previous videos is how to make a Vericut file, bring in our vices, our materials, so on and so forth. What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to take a finished Op1, convert it into its own model, and then we're going to bring it into an Op2 environment, and then we're going to run our Op2 on the Op1 cut stock. That way we can see exactly what we're going to get when we run our programs on the machine. So let's get to it. So what we have here is my material for my Op1, and all the zeros have been set. I'm going to hit play so we can make it through our simulation. We do have to make it through the simulation before we can get a model of this part. So I've sped it really fast, and once it gets all done, we're going to come up here to save cut stock. Now it's important that you do not hit eject. We want it to look just like this. So I'm going to go to save cut stock. Now I have done this once to make sure I do it right. This folder would be blank, so I'm just going to override what was already there. From here, I don't want to save anything, so I'm going to go Open Project up here in the top left. I don't want to change anything, so I'm going to hit Ignore. When it comes up, I'm going to go back to my Vericut folder. If you're in my class, we're going to have a mini mill template. I'm going to click on that. Now you're used to seeing the vise, but now we're going to get you familiar with how to work with a machine simulation. So now I have a machine that is built, and I have my workpiece, which is the vise right here. So this is going to get pretty easy, so we're going to go through it pretty quick. First thing I want to do is I want to go into my machine, and I want to attach that stock of the model that I just made. So I'll come down to Add Model. It will be a model file. I will come up to my tutorial, and I have that part too. So wherever you're saving it, just make sure you get it, and then it has the correct extension on it. If you don't see it, you can always come here to All Files to see if it's popping up. I'm going to click OK. Now you can see it brought it in the same exact location that it was in previously. So I have Op2 instructions that tell me that this will be the 0. These need to be to the left, and I cannot clamp onto more than 200 thousandths. So I'm going to have to use, from experience, 1 inch 625 thousandths parallels. So I'll minimize that. But the first thing I have to do is I have to rotate it. Now rotating is where it gets thrown around a little bit, so I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go into rotate. I'm going to change that to 90. Now I know I need to rotate in Z. And then when we rotate it, imagine this rolling over. So now I'm going to roll over in the Y-axis. I'm going to go 1 and 2. Now notice my part is way down there, but if you look at that orientation, you'll see that it is the same orientation as what I have right there, except I have all that Op1 stock on there. So we're going to come back to here, and I'm going to start moving it where I want it to go. Now, if you are having trouble with this part flipping and rotating when you're trying to put it in position, I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it. We're going to go into Assemble, and the first thing I want to do is align it, and I will leave the other two as a mate. I'm going to align it with the left side of my vise. I will click there, and I will click this surface right here. Now it is aligned. Now this is going to be really cool. I'm going to go into mate for the next one. This is how I'm going to establish the height of my part. So I'm going to click on there. I'm going to click on the bottom of the part because that's where my parallels will be setting. And if you want to, you can build parallels, but it's going to be flush with the bottom of the vise. Now we're going to do this method with all of my setups. Now I'm going to move this 1 inch 625 thousandths, and you'll see that it moves up. So if you had parallels built in here, they would be directly under the parallels. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mate this surface to my hard jaw. So I will click on that. I will click on the part. I will click on the face. Now my part is aligned to the vise. Next thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and I will click on my movable vise jaw like we did in my other tutorials. We're going to do a mate the face of the part, and if you need to, you can rotate it to see where it's going. And then we're going to do right there. So now you can see that I have it all where I want it, and then we'll kind of move it into position, and I will simply click off. So now I have it orientated and positioned. This will be the hardest part of doing your obtuse, is just getting it located correctly. From here, I am going to create a coordinate system. Here's where it gets fun and easy. I'm going to add a new CSIS. In previous videos, I used the vertex function where I'd click on it, I'd click a corner, so on and so forth. But this one requires the whole to be the center, and it is the top of the part for Z0. That is in my program. So I'll minimize that. I'm going to change this to circle center. Now the first thing it wants me to do is to pick the XY plane of the circle. That is the top of my part. So I will click on the raw top of the part. Now it wants me to pick the cylinder. So I'm going to pick the face of the cylinder, and you can zoom up to make sure you get it. But once I click, it goes right to the center. Now that I have it in the correct location, I need to get a little bit more information from my program. So we're going to go ahead and add my program. It's in my downloads right now. Now I'm going to double click this, and you'll see that I'm using G54, and I have a 3-inch face mill and I have a 1-inch end mill. So you will need to build those, but I don't want to take that time right now. I want to get through this. So I'm going to double click this to get to my tools. Now I'm going to open up a file. Now if you've already opened up the file previously, it will be in recent, which it is. So I've already built these tools previously, so I will click that. You'll see that I have my 3-inch face mill and I have my 1-inch end mill. Now that those are established, I can simply exit, and it said I was using G54, so I will have to rename to capital G54. I will hit enter. Now I have the coordinate labeled as G54. Now I have to give it a work offset. So this will be capital G54. I'm going to click on the CSIS because that's the one I just created, the coordinate user system, and I will click add. Right now I have done everything. I am finished. So I'll slow it down a little bit and I'll simply hit play. You'll see the tool gets put into the spindle. It comes through and skims my part, and then my 1-inch tool will come down and do the rest. And I will speed it up just a little bit so we can see this thing run. And just like that, I have successfully set up and run my OP2 program on my OP1 cut stock. Again, my name is Aaron Ruck. Thanks for watching. Hope this is useful. Stay tuned for part number 3.